CCU Orlando, Natural Awakenings Magazine, and Unity of Nashville present The Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly show featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from diverse perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 61, Denise Rosier. And now, your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice and I am the host, and I'm here with several friends in the studio today. Everybody just go, hey. Hey. Woo. Okay, a lot of people here. My very special guest is Denise Rosier, and she is an amazing musician, and I'm happy to have her in the studio. We are in 818 Studios with my producer.
Hey everybody, my name is Dave Croft. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 61 of the Authentic Spiritual Journey, and today we are honoring the country of Ireland.
Ireland. Nice. Yes, there's a bit of the Irish in all of us, and I love Ireland. I am part Irish. I'm one of those Americans that's Irish and Scottish and English and
so am I.
German. Really?
I'm not kidding you.
And Cherokee Indian?
No, Japanese. So we split there.
Right on. Ohio gozaimasu. Ohio gozaimasu. Genki desu ka? That is awesome. So we're always love to do a shout out to countries, and thank you for joining us from Ireland. It's amazing. All over the world, people from all over the world are joining us. And Dave, tell us our numbers.
Right now we are at 27,176 downloads.
So great.
Whoa, what up with that?
That's a lot of downloads. That's a lot of megabytes floating around the internet.
Well, what's so amazing too is having Denise on the program with us. She has followers all over the world as well, and there's no mistake why, because her energy, her consciousness, her love, her music, and it's also blowing past any denominational guidelines as well. So often in New Thought music. I'm just going to jump right in, by the way. So often in New Thought music, we have artists who are just only speaking to a certain congregation or even a small group of churches. But Denise, one of the things I love about your music is that it's really, I'm going to say pan-denominational.
That is a great term. I love that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, and tell us for sure. Well, first introduce yourself. I just assume everybody knows who you are, but they may not.
I am Denise Rosier, and I am a singer and songwriter and a contemporary inspirational artist. And just like you were kind of alluding to, I don't necessarily label myself as just a New Thought artist, but more of a contemporary inspirational artist.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. That's awesome. And Denise is going to be, doing some songs later in the show. And what matters to me most, and Dave and I, each show this is really authentic conversations, spiritual conversations among friends. And sometimes we come at an issue, from really different perspectives. Very often, though, we find our paths are kind of parallel because there's something about the spiritual journey that we all are going through the same thing. You'll often hear me say, we're in this together, So I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey, if you don't mind sharing that, because when people see you and hear you perform, people kind of just make up all kind of stories.
Sure.
Yeah,
right.
And we'd love to hear, how did you get here? Musically, spiritually? What would you want to tell us about that?
Well, for me, my own spiritual journey was really a very personal one. So when my parents got together, my dad grew up Mormon, and my mom is from Japan, so she was raised in the Shinto religion.
Oh, yeah.
And so when they came together, it made sense that they should become Baptists. And so,
as one does,
Yeah, I get that.
It's prescribed.
That's
okay,
right.
so it is.
I have to tell you, Dave, I love your awesome voice. When there's this disembodied, velvety voice that just, because I do listen to the podcast, and when I hear you, you sound fantastic.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's only when I have a microphone. I sound like an idiot if I don't have a microphone.
Hey.
Anyway.
Well,
thank you very much.
But anyway, so we were not huge churchgoers when we first started.
Yeah.
And but we did start going to this Baptist church for a little while, and my mom, back in the days of Holly Hobby, if you remember Holly Hobby.
Oh, yes, I do.
I had a little Holly Hobby poster on my wall. And on my way to my friend's house one day, I was riding my bike, and this man almost crashed into me, and I didn't realize that he had really cut me off because he wanted to snatch me and, kidnap me. And so I
Whoa.
rode all the way to my friend's house, and I was so scared that day. And when I got back home, on my Holly Hobby poster was this prayer that said, "Bless this house, O Lord, we pray. Keep us safe by night and day." And I didn't know anything about praying or really church very much about that time. But I prayed that prayer every day, every night before I went to bed. And so this was kind of what began this relationship with me and God, just personally.
Yes.
And so as I got older, we started going to a fundamentalist Christian church.
Oh, yes.
And and that's kind of where I discovered contemporary Christian music and praise and worship. So that's kind of how I got into that. But as I got older, I really just kind of realized that I wanted to have this relationship with God that was very personal to me and not necessarily, what the church wanted me to believe about God or, what their rules or
dogma.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just had this prayer in me, God, I want to know who you are, who you really are.
Yes.
And not who other people tell me that you are or should be. And so so that was kind of part of that journey. But after a while, my own path started to kind of divert from this traditional fundamentalist upbringing that I had. And I didn't really know at the time. I was still shopping a deal as a contemporary Christian artist, and I didn't know what to do with it at that time because I knew that if I came out, that this whole community that I was part of was not going to accept that. And so I just kind of pulled out of music for a while. Wow. But there was this need in me to still connect spiritually, and to still write what was true to my relationship with God. And so I just started writing my own music. And some friends of mine said, we have a friend that's going to be opening a brand new Thought church, and I think they'll really like your positive music.
Yes, yes.
And so, do you know anything about New Thought? I was like, no, I don't. But I'll go. And and I had all of these feelings about, the truth of how I felt about heaven and hell and salvation. And those just didn't really connect with me anymore.
Yes.
I felt like God was bigger than that. I felt like God was more, open and accepting of everybody and every path. And everybody else was telling me, no, that's not true. But it was true to me.
There you go.
And so I go to this New Thought church on this Sunday morning. There's like 20 people in there. And I start listening to the message in there about how open and expansive God is and possibility and all of this. And I thought, how neat that these 20 people get together every Sunday to talk about this. I thought they were literally the only 20 people
that ever talked about it.
I thought that this was a club or something that got together on Sundays. And then I left and looked up New Thought.
Yes.
And found out about Unity and found out about religious science.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the community that I connect with. Yeah. And I realized that one of the things that I noticed was there was a lot of secular, positive pop music, like You've Got a Friend, Lean on Me, that were being sung.
Right.
And there are interestingly, a lot of Broadway tunes that were being sung in church. And I thought, gosh, I know that I need something that is just a little more sacred on a Sunday morning. And I also knew that from where I came from, there was a need to heal a lot of the messages in contemporary worship music.
Yes.
So that was kind of what led me here, was to create the music that was sacred for our community. And I thought, you know what? maybe no one is even going to like it. Maybe nobody's going to connect with it. But what I know is I know it's really true for me.
Yes.
And I want to connect with the people that connect to it. So if it's 5 people, if it's 5,000 people, God, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there you go.
And so that's how I got here.
Well, I think, and it's going to be more like 50,000, because you are very well known in Unity and religious science, and if you're new to some of these denominations, you might see or hear of Centers for Spiritual Living. That's some of the religious science churches. And what is so amazing, and I think is so interesting in your journey, is that your music is now touching those in what we'd be considered fundamentalism, the Christian contemporary world. And my hope is that as your music gets to more people, that people begin to expand their idea of God. And it's funny, I think the Sunday that you are at CCU, my title is How Big Is Your God? Isn't it? I think that's the week you're here. That's unbelievable. Next month.
Perfect. Oh, great. Yes.
Yes,
That'll
because
be perfect.
Yeah, because I think that in traditional religion, as you're describing, God is so little, and the dogma so strong that ultimately, if you are on a spiritual journey, no dogma, including new thought even, I would include in that, is going to hold it. And that's exactly as it should be. God is bigger than any man-made, thought up, dogmatic written down. As soon as you write it down, it's limited, in my view. And I've experienced things that no theology really can explain, but as you say, it was my experience. I know it to be true. I know it to be spiritual. So I love that you're bringing that in, and I love that your music is touching so many people. Again, cross-denominationally, even pan-denominationally, and I think the world is wanting to wake up spiritually. I really, really do. And the ones, and I think right now, and I'm going to do a whole show on this topic. So I just want to get this out, and then we'll for future, that right now is a really important time for souls that are waking up, because the ones that are waking up, the expansion is like happening really quickly, and the support from the universe is like, yes, we're going to move you forward. I'm going to give you money. I'm going to give you stuff. I'm going to give you whatever you need. I'm going to give you interviews. I'm going to give you the right people to talk to. And the ones that are choosing the opposite are like also going backwards quickly. So it's like there's this super intense energy coming in that's saying, choose, and so I just know for me, and I know for you guys, everybody in the room with me today, and our listeners, I know that you're choosing, and what I'm talking about choosing is your soul. The journey over what anybody says you should be, the journey over anybody says, what your choices should be, that your experience, your individual experience with God, your spiritual experience where God lives in your soul, when you're listening to that, Spirit's rewarding that, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, would you like to sing a song for us? No, let me rephrase that. I'm a big fanboy, by the way. Big
Fanboy.
Denise Rosier fanboy. So I'm like, she's in my studio.
Yeah, let's have her do a song.
I would love for you to do a song.
All right.
And we have the beautiful and talented Mrs. Shannon Croft, who's also going to join you on piano.
Yeah.
All right.
Love is alive in the space between us. Feel that love right now. God speaks out in the words between us. Hear those words right now. I am holy. You are holy. There is beauty between us. Spirit shines in the light between us. See that light right now. Peace is born in the good between us. Be that peace right now. I am holy. You are holy. There is beauty between us. Between us. Faith is the bond that we share between us. Hold that faith right now. Truth is the life in the breath between us. Live that truth right now. We are holy. We are holy. We are holy. We are holy. Let's sing together. We are holy. 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 Love is alive in the space between us. Love is alive in the space between us. Love is alive between us.
So cool. What a great tune. If you were really dialing into that song, I don't care who you are or what you were doing, you were like, oh, something spiritual is going on right now, right? I mean, that song is direct from spirit right through you. And it's because you're really speaking from the soul. And our whole work on the show, I mean, it's called The Authentic Spiritual Journey, but it's all about the soul, growing the soul, understanding the soul, speaking to the soul, listening to the soul. And that's what that song spoke to, the soul of us and what's really happening. I was so glad the way you set it up, because really what we're seeing now, as you're saying, on Facebook, on social media, between friends, family members, is really all based in the ego. All of this, this like, I was going to call it cat fighting. I mean, it's just this like, this tension, this energy, this I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. You're wrong, and
Right.
F you if you don't.
Yeah.
Whatever. And this is all ego. The soul has room for everyone. And yes, I mean, if somebody, we always like to say on the show, if somebody's being abusive to you, you cut things off. That's another thing.
Right.
But a disagreement is a completely different thing. And so when we are living from the soul, we can see that something else is trying to come forward in these discussions. Like instead of just holding on to your position, what could you learn listening? What if you're a compassionate listener? What could you learn? Chances are, if somebody's holding on to an I'll call it an ideology that's really based in racism, that's based in in separatists and sexism, which we're seeing a lot of that. But to me, that's not new. But it's just really loud right now. That voice is really loud right now. I'm never going to say, oh yeah, that's a wonderful ideology, but I'm not going to hate the person. Because if I do that, I'm joining that ideology.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's something bigger happening between us. And I think that's what your song.
Yeah, this is something I actively struggle with.
Yeah.
Just like you over there are so fundamentally wrong that I can't bridge that gap. And and we talked on the show about friends I've known for years and just their political ideology. I haven't been able to square it. So that song's very appropriate.
And just like you said, I think that it's true that there's no way. I have plenty of family members and friends who, Christy and I look at online and we're like, how is this even a thing? Like, how is this person even coming from there?
Right.
And so it's true. You can't just go, okay, well, I just totally accept what you're saying or I'm on board with it. I think that where I was coming from with this, because I know for me, it seemed like it was such a focus. Like we couldn't separate ourselves from this constant irritation. Like the world was and is just so irritated right now.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, maybe we need to, at some point, I know for me, I needed to get off of that focus of how annoyed I was and focus on something else. What are the good things that we can think about that are between us?
Yes. And I think that's always what we're looking for. What are the ways we can connect? What are the ways we can see the goodness in others? Because as we do that, we call it forth. Years ago when I was a teacher, I had a student who, everybody called the problem.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. We were in class one day, and I was up in front of the class with my little guitar, and it was a music class, and this supposed problem took her pen and just started scribbling really like that on her page, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, there she goes."
Right.
I said, "Hey, can I see what you did there?" She's like, she thought she was in trouble. I said, "No, this is great." And she said, "It is?" I said, "Yeah, this is called anger. Anybody else want to color anger?" And they all went, "Yeah."
Yeah, right.
Because this was a school full of kids who'd been told they were ADD, ADHD, and dyslexic. So the whole school was that. So they had all brought all this baggage into school, and especially the ones that had been damaged the most, of course, had the most problems.
Right.
So with that one little thing, everybody got permission to be angry. I said, "Does anybody want to draw happy now?" "Okay, yeah, let's draw happy now." That student followed me the rest of the year.
Aww.
And I'm saying this because, sometimes the people that seem so calcified, so angry, so resistant, just need to be loved.
Sure. Right.
It's pretty simple. So the stories we make up about what's happening with the individuals that are holding positions are part of the problem. So if we can remember that there's something there between us that we're not seeing, that's my whole point in telling that is that, there's more there than meets the eye.
Sure, right.
There is something between us. There is soul. There is light. There is love. And so our job as souls is to do our best to find it, right? And then love them along the journey. And it doesn't mean, again, that we don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean that we don't say no to certain behaviors in our lives, but I think we're saying no and resisting and putting up walls when we don't need to. And this is always our goal, to find a way to connect, to love, to support. And then our whole show, we come back to this idea, this mission is to reawaken consciousness to love, acceptance, and peace. So I could say, well, if you don't like that, don't listen to our show. Or I could say, we're about reawakening consciousness to love, acceptance, and peace. And we hope you join us. If you choose not to, that's cool. But see, then I'm keeping an openness. If I'm closing down, I'm joining the them group, that there is an us and a them, So anyway, I love that song. I loved what you said about it. And are we probably needing to go to a break?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. And maybe when we come back, you can play another one for us.
Awesome. All right.
Awesome.
All right.
I love it.
We'll see you right after this.
We'll return to the program in just a few minutes, but first, we wanted to give a special word of thanks to our podcast partner, CCU Orlando, who has helped make this episode of the Authentic Spiritual Journey possible. CCU Orlando is a welcoming community dedicated to transforming lives, celebrating diversity, and supporting soul growth. CCU Orlando is located at 771 Holden Avenue in Orlando, Florida, with Sunday services at 9 and 11 a.m. You can stream services live online as well as learn more at christchurchunity.org. unityof.net. We'd also like to thank Natural Awakenings Magazine of Central Florida, Greater Orlando. Each month, Natural Awakenings magazines across the country take a practical look at the latest natural approaches to nutrition, fitness, creative expression, personal growth, and sustainable living. Natural Awakenings magazine is a free publication and is available in selected stores, health and education centers, healing centers, public libraries, and wherever free publications are located. You could learn more, including advertising opportunities for your business, by calling 407-628-0705. And finally, we'd like to extend our special thanks to Unity of Nashville, a sister ministry of CCU Orlando. If you're searching for a like-minded church community and a personal connection that supports your heart and mind in the Central Tennessee area, then join Unity of Nashville at 10 a.m. every Sunday morning at 5125 Franklin Pike. For more information, head over to unityofnashville.org. And now we return you to this week's episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey with your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
When a step seems too hard to take, every turn feels like a big mistake. It makes you want to close your eyes and hide. Trust yourself, even if you're scared. Don't give up, don't give in to fear. All the strength you seek, you'll find inside. Open up, spread your wings and rise above the clouds in your mind that blind you to who you really are. Don't waste your time, no one else can live your life. Open up to what you've known all the time. You are more than you are. You are more than you are. Speak your mind, make a statement. Don't hide yourself out in the open. Step into the spotlight and shine. Be the change, fall like a domino, a chain reaction that sets the world aglow. Be amazed at how it falls in line. Open up, spread your wings and rise above the clouds in your mind that blind you to who you really are. Don't waste your time, no one else can live your life. Open up to what you've known all the time. Round and round we go, we don't fall down. More than flesh and bone, we're heart and soul, light and miracles. You are more than you are. You are. Open up, spread your wings and rise above the clouds in your mind that blind you to who you really are. Don't waste your time, no one else can live your life. So open up to what you've known all the time. And you've known all the time. You are more than you are. You are more than you are. You are more than you are.
Yeah, all right.
Woo.
What What a great tune. What a great tune.
Thank you.
Open up, open up. That's the idea, right? Open up. So
right.
I want to keep that energy flowing because I'm feeling it right now. And what I know is if you're listening, you're feeling it too. And this is what we are all to be doing, opening up to the truth of who we are and then living that truth in the world. A statement that's been coming to me, and as I've been working with people and in my own life, it's this it's almost an affirmation that's, for me, is deepening and expanding. And you even said it in your song to a degree. I own my life. I own my life. And we've been, as souls, all of us have a growing up story. We all have things happen. We all have traumas. We all have opportunities to grow. And we talk so much about, living from soul. And we talk so much about having responsibility or taking responsibility for our life. But it's really different when you own your life and you say, this is mine. This is what I'm here to do. This is what I'm here to be. And it really does, when you own that, it does open you up.
Right.
you know,
Absolutely.
to receive from the universe. So I love the ideas in that song. And I love the idea of just stepping forward. It's like, even in my meditations, lately, my guided visualizations, and even with the healer I work with, a statement that keeps coming through is step into the light. You step in and then you claim that as yours. Own that, hold that. Yes, I am moving into the light. My life is about light, and I'm owning this. I'm taking responsibility for this. And I don't know. I never realized how your song speaks to that. Or that's what I got
Appreciate
listening
that. Yeah.
again to that
Well,
song.
and that's really the beauty of songwriting, right? Is that
Yeah.
you put these ideas and these lyrics out there, and people just kind of make it their own. I wrote this song originally for my daughter
Oh, yeah.
and her friends. When I heard them all playing, they're so young and bright, and there's like everything ahead of them, and you don't want them to let any of those opportunities or just that openness go by.
Yes, there's a beautiful, I'm going to use this word, even though now it almost has a negative connotation, a naivete. What I've seen with so much violence in shows is that naivete is lost at earlier ages. So when I see kids able to maintain it, to hold on to that and still believe
Yeah.
there's goodness in the world,
Yeah.
still believe that people are basically good, to allow themselves to believe that we are more than we seem. That's how I believe the world changes. So, and I know you have a daughter. It was so funny that I sent you that message the other day by accident. You said she's like 20 something.
She's 21 now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
She's studying to be an animator, and it's been just super exciting to
Yes.
hear some of the. It's actually really exciting to go watch animated movies with her because we get all the technical stuff in the background now. And
Right.
it's just crazy. I
Oh,
love
that
it.
is cool. Well, there's nothing better to me than being a parent and watching your kids succeed.
Yes, yes, super exciting.
And what I mean by succeed is by being a good human. It's not about money or career. It's about kindness and love and openness. So, great.
And just to watch them discover what they love.
Yeah.
And just go for it. And just to see what it is. Like, what do they become? What do they fall in love with? And what becomes their passion? And when they pursue it, it's just fantastic.
Yes. Yes. Well, and on the show, we're consistently encouraging people to do just that because I find in my work with individuals that we can be 40, 50, 60 years old and we've forgotten what we love.
Yeah.
Because we've gone through life, we've made choices. Some things we've had to do to make money. Some things we've had to do because our life situation. Maybe we're taking care of parents, so a lot of people I know, excuse me, a lot of people I know about my age are taking care of parents now. So there's a lot of have-tos in life, or maybe there's a lot of kids. So to refine that joy and be living from that is something we highly encourage, because I believe that as you're living from your I have 3 words I like to use: your power, passion, and purpose. If you're living from your power, your passion, and your purpose, then it's amazing how the universe helps you work out all that other stuff that seems like have-tos, that seems like you can't get it all done. It's like support shows up, love shows up, help shows up. Even if it's help you got to pay, that's all right. It's worth it if you can live your power, passion, and purpose.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you should write a song with those 3 words. I'm going to just task you to do
All
that right
right,
now.
okay.
Power, passion, purpose. Boom, 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 boom. I can hear
Nothing
it.
like those P's for the sound guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, I've already
Those plosives.
I've
Those
lost track of the number of plosives I'm going to have to
Plosives.
edit out.
power, passion.
Can't wait to
purpose.
sing those 3 words.
Light it up. Hey, it's my passion. You're going to have to work it out. That's what I pay you to do. It's all good.
There's a plug-in for that.
Oh,
love that.
yeah. Right.
It's the plosive plug-in.
Right.
Killing me,
Well,
killing me.
one of the things too, one of the things I wanted to let our listeners in on is I've really committed to supporting Denise and vice versa in our ministries, because we both strongly believe and support in the work we're doing in the world, and I think it's a wonderful team, and I can't wait to come out to your place. I promise you, I'm not.
We
I
are
hadn't
waiting.
forgotten it, so I'm going to just schedule it while you're
Yes.
here. We're
Oh,
going
well, and you're
going to
need your producer and music director
That's
too,
right.
right?
Well,
You guys
we've got
gotta come.
room.
Yeah, well, there's that. I guess there's a bet about sleeping in that outside place or
Yes,
whatever.
that's right. In the treehouse.
I'll
with the
totally
bears.
do it. I'm totally.
I bless you and affirm that, but I'm going to be in the AC.
That's right.
Oh, that's so funny. But I just want our listeners to know, how much and how deeply I support Denise and her ministry, and of course her partner as well, who's a wonderful support for her. Christy's amazing. So, but I am consciously doing that, and I'm inviting other people to do the same for both of us, because we believe the messages that we have are for the world. And I believe that the things we talk about on this show, it's about the authentic spiritual journey. It's about the soul. It's about reawakening consciousness. This is church of the 21st century, and it's gotten through your phone, through podcasts, through YouTube. This is the church for the 21st century. But to continue these ministries, we have to have the love and support of the people doing the work. We can't just do it and it go off into a vacuum. We've got to have committed souls who really want to live this way support us so we can support you. And so I feel very strongly that Denise's message, her presence, her love, her consciousness, her music, the world needs to hear. So I'm about making sure people hear more about you, and that's not a long list that I have. So I really honor you and the work you're doing, and am thrilled for the way it's bringing people together. And I want to make sure we mention, because this will air before you're back at CCU again.
Okay.
So I know we record this several weeks in advance. So. But in September, you are going to be at CCU Orlando and doing a concert, and it's a Heart of Praise concert, right? And it's not going to be just for us. So tell everybody, our listeners, a little bit about why you do this and what the feeling is, so people can get an idea.
What I love about taking Heart of Praise on the road is it's not just a concert that is about watching me on stage singing to you.
Right.
So it's a fully immersive, interactive, musical experience. It's it is the praise and worship of New Thought. So I know that worship can be a scary word, but we are in praise of all of the goodness inside us and all of the things that you
yes.
talk about.
Yes.
And so we're just going to all sing together. It's an hour of singing together, and all the words are up on the screens, and we have this kick-ass band that's going to be there. I am so excited to play with the CCU Orlando band. Yeah, as you know, is outstanding.
I
So,
do know.
so I'm super excited about that night. And what's great about Heart of Praise is it's not just for one church community. It's
Right.
for all of the communities that are around us. And so when we've done Heart of Praise in the past, there have been unities that come together, like different communities of churches and the CSLs and the MCC churches or United Church of Christ, anybody who falls under that New Thought umbrella. It's great that they're not just tied to their own church buildings, but they're like, we're going to get together and we're just going to celebrate spirit together. So I am super excited that that's going to be coming to CCU Orlando because that's such a fitting community to bring it to.
Well, I'm going to also invite, there are 2 churches on our street where CCU Orlando is, and I'm going to invite both of them as well. We're going to reach out. In politics, it would say we're going to reach across the aisle. We're going to reach across the aisle because both of those churches are fundamentalist.
Oh, great. Okay.
And but I'm going to invite both of them. Several years ago, I had reached out to one of the churches on the same street as us, and they wouldn't even call us back.
Oh, right.
And but it was interesting after the Pulse shooting when we had an event, they offered parking.
Oh, that's
And so that says to me that there might be an openness just to
yeah, super cool.
Yeah, there's a healing happening in the studio right now. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we're
looking
going to
forward
invite them. We'll see what happens. And definitely we're going to invite the other New Thought churches. And I know you're going to reach out as well. And so we believe that when people come together in spiritual community and sing, healing happens. I believe that. I believe that. So often on a Sunday, people may not remember a word I say, but what they're going to remember is the feeling of connection.
Right.
They're going to remember a song that they can sing over and over. They're going to be going, oh, yeah, open up, Yeah, this is my life. Yeah, I'm going to open up. They might remember that, and they'll never remember anything I say. So I think it's so important that that we sing together in spiritual community, that we love and support one another. And yeah, it's so interesting. Even in New Thought sometimes, we get scared like, oh, there's other churches. What if our members like that church better?
Right.
And what I have to say is if you like another church better, go there. I have no fear about that.
Right.
God is doing God's work in each of our individual churches, and each one has its own special feeling, consciousness, and leader. So I just honor that. So I'm glad you're going to do that.
Yeah. And plus, I don't think there's any need to live in fear in your church.
Exactly. It's kind of the one place you shouldn't be having fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are, well, look at that. Yeah. So if you are, then look at that.
Yeah, Denise, I want to ask you a real quick question about your creative process. Just as a creative person myself and a composer and everything, and we've had several songwriters before, and sometimes they like literally go into the wilderness and come back with a bunch of songs, and sometimes life happens and something ephemeral kind of comes out of their consciousness. But what can you talk to us about your songwriting process and how that goes?
Gosh, and so many people, that is like the question, right? What comes first, the music or the lyrics, or how do you go about this? And I really wish I could be like, the Rolling Stones, where I go and get a villa in the Bahamas, and but it is so different. Sometimes I'll have just a little musical, just a little piece of melody that I work with that I go, okay, well, here's the chorus. But now how am I going to get there? And I have to start writing the lyric that takes me there. Sometimes there is a lyric that I really like, and that actually is easiest for me because if I can work the lyric, I can sing a melody to anything. It's the lyric that is more challenging. So, and sometimes songs will take forever to write. There are songs that I started years ago that I still have not finished because I can't figure it out.
Just haven't coalesced yet.
There are songs that just, when I had a day job, I would have to have my phone with me constantly because I would run into the bathroom to sing a song before I would forget it because I knew that by the time I got off of work, I would forget it. But those are little gifts when the music and the melody, the lyric and the melody come down and you can just, write. So really the answer is there's so many different ways of songs.
Do you have something, I know you're touring Heart of Praise and everything. Do you have other things cooking? Like you got the next record or the next 2 albums?
I do, and it's so funny because it takes a year or a little bit over a year to complete a record. And so by the time I'm done with that record, I'm already thinking about the next thing.
Yes.
I have Heart of Praise is meant to be volumes. It was meant to answer the call of New Thought Praise, and so giving church communities congregational songs to sing.
Yes,
so
we need
Heart
that.
of Praise. The reason why it's called Volume 1 is because there's a Volume 2 coming. But I do have like other solo bits that I'm writing too. So I'm ready to start cutting demos for those.
So where should we point people that want to find out more about you and where they could find information, maybe your tour schedule? If we're listening, to our our listeners, or we're talking to our listeners in Ireland, when are you going to be in Ireland?
Oh my gosh, and I am so open to that.
Yeah, let's tour. I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
too.
let's go international.
Yeah, let's go international.
But they can find me at deniserosier.com.
Yes,
And that's where all my music and my videos and everything are.
Right. Also, I do want to get the date right for CCU Orlando when you're there. So let's just pull that up to make sure.
I think it's September 15th.
I think it's.
I think it's the 14th.
I think Saturday is the 14th. The Heart of Praise concert, and that's in the evening, and that'll be at CCU Orlando on Facebook or our website christchurchunity.net. But yeah, that's going to be an amazing evening with, like I say, an hour of praise music, and I think that'll be a wonderful time of worship and of celebration.
Yeah, we'll have links to all of this in our show
Yes.
notes. Be sure to check on the show for today, August 26, 2019, for episode 61, in case this is, several weeks later.
Well, and Denise, anything you want to make sure our listeners know about that we haven't asked you yet? Because I can feel this is wrapping up, and it's
and we're going to get another song. I have to have.
I
another
know.
song.
We'll end with a song, though, right?
Right.
We'll
Yeah,
end with a song.
absolutely.
So I just want to make sure anything you want our listeners to know about, because we're here to support you.
I appreciate that. I so appreciate being part of this podcast. Like I said, I listen to this podcast, so it'll be exciting to be like, hey, I get to be on it, everybody.
Hey, that's right. There I am. There I am.
But no, I think we covered it. I really loved sharing just kind of, what my message is. And that really is, it has been to just kind of bring community singing and just solo music that's sacred to the New Thought community. It's written specifically for us. We're not appropriating any other religion's music.
Not doing any lyrical gymnastics to make it fit.
We have our own songs.
We
so
do.
I've just that's been a blessing to me.
Well,
definitely.
and the number one idea of this show, is the authentic spiritual journey, sharing that. We appreciate you sharing your journey today. And always, we're about reawakening consciousness to love, acceptance, and peace. And your work really does that. And when we realize, as God within, God everywhere present, and that our goal is to live from the soul. So we're going to have one more song.
All right.
And thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank you. And this is going to be a congregational song. So. I am made of the light that hung the stars in the night, a perfect thought since time began. I am one with the love that's holding all of us. Its power in my hands. I am called by the voice that speaks of truth and joy, forever blessed where I stand. I am, we affirm that together. I am, I All right. Thank you for singing with me.
Thank you.
I love that.
I love that song.
I totally love it.
I love that song. And, we do that song once a month. We have a tradition I actually borrowed from a Center for Spiritual Living in Atlanta. When I was there, I was at everybody calls it David Alt's church, even though now he's not there
Right,
anymore. I was there visiting family, and we went up to the church, and they did a beautiful reading called The Flames of Faith, and it's where you honor, basically all the world religions, and then then you light a candle for each one, and then the very last one, you light a candle for healing. And so we use your song. So I brought that back to Orlando to do at our church, and I even called my friend Reverend John in Unity of Nashville and said, "Hey, I was in Atlanta and saw this Flames of Faith thing." He goes, "Oh yeah. I know that. I know who wrote that." I said, "Oh, you mean David stole it too?" So David stole the Flames of Faith. I stole it from David, but I asked, and I brought it back to CCU Orlando, and we feel very strongly about the message of that, which is just the oneness of all the faiths. And so your song, this song, "I Am," and we do it. It's in its entirety. We do it just before the Flames of Faith. It kind of sets it up, and then we come out singing that "I Am." Because I believe, and this is what we teach, that I am presence, by whatever name, is the same energy in God that we all serve. So that song really has a special place in our heart. That one and Spirit is in This Place. I mean, those are like kind of CCU standards. So yeah, that's a great, great tune. And I know if you were listening, you felt the energy in your heart and in your soul. And I know it blessed you. So thank you for that one. That's a real special song.
Thank you.
So I think, friends, we're going to wrap it up. We are so grateful you joined us, as always. Blessings on the journey. And please do share. Again, I'm not, I've healed the part of me that used to not ask for support. And I'll tell you why. Because we love what we do. We love serving the world. Our goal, my personal vision for my life, is to ignite soul evolution in humanity. We do that by reawakening consciousness to love, acceptance, and peace. And we do that through this show, through CCU Orlando, through Denise and her ministry and her music. And we encourage you, we bless you, and we thank you in advance for being a part of that journey with us, for supporting us as we support you on the spiritual journey. So blessings to you, dear friends. We will see you next week. Thank you for joining us.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey, presented by CCU Orlando, Natural Awakenings Magazine, and Unity of Nashville. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is also made possible through the continued support of our angel patrons, Dove Borland, Peter Gibson, Paul Caswell, J.J. Hamilton, Arlene Meyer, Kathy and Terry, Marcia Mott, and Nora Miles. If you would like to support the channel as a patron on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. And if you enjoy this podcast, help spread the word by sharing it with your friends and leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, or the platform of your choice. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2019 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.